The Big 12 Experience Week 6 Power Rankings edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our promo code TCESGPN to get 50% off your deposit bonus up to $1,000. That is the Underdog Fantasy promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and NFL with Rhythm, baby. Get your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, into the Big 12 College Experience, America's League. And boy, was it entertaining on Saturday. We're going to recap all the games. We're going to give out our power rankings and do a little look ahead to week number 6. And this thing is as open as ever. And kind of we talked about it in the preseason. But first off, I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin. And we're talking Big 12 football, so I am joined. Well, this guy's always fighting a family civil war somewhere in the Big 12, whether it is in Waco, Fort Worth, Stillwater, Orlando, Cincinnati, all the way to Tucson. He is the green mowing, weed growing Troy Chewning, a.k.a. the Big 12 guru. What is up, brother?
What is going on? Yeah, not a great showing in Orlando from the family this week. Pretty poopy. Almost to the point where I think it's about time to start respecting Colorado a little bit. Again, just a good performance on one side, bad performance on the other. So don't really know how much you can take away from it, but definitely not the game that I was expecting. And, you know, Buffalo's kind of showed you they've got a little bit to them, I guess. But yeah, a very toss-up week here in the Big 12. We were spot on some things and, you know, completely ate shit on UCF. Like Hasty said, good call on the Arizona. I know that Arizona was the right play. Just hoping for the BYU-Utah undefeated matchup that now we will never get to see. And who would have thought that out of those two teams, the one that ruined the possible undefeated Holy War would be Utah and not BYU at this point in the year? Kind of crazy.
Yeah, those Utah fans that were chirping at me all week for taking Arizona out, right, aren't as loud today. So, yeah, shout out to the Wildcats for never in doubt. They controlled that game. I said Cam Rising was not going to play again. Yeah, man, and I know Utah fans are I don't know, they're confident that he's going to come back. I don't see why you would be confident. There's nothing that Cam Rising has shown that I think he's going to come back and play the rest of the season. He may try and come back eventually, but do we really think he's going to play the last 8 games, Troy? Or 7 games?
I would almost argue that we've been shown that he's not going to come back because the exact same thing happened last year where it was like every week we're talking about when we're going to see Cam Rising again and we never see him. It's just a weird scenario. I don't really know. I mean, even in that matchup, what we talked about on Thursday was a lot of the rushing yards that we've seen against Arizona were quarterback keepers that, you know, went for a little bit longer. And we were kind of on the fact that Isaac's not going to be able to do that nearly as well as some of the other running quarterbacks in this league. And it seemed like that cost him. I know they just really kind of couldn't get anything going on a consistent basis. Arizona looked very well prepared coming into that game. I'm not sure. I mean, you know, we've got a candidate in Utah and a candidate in Oklahoma State that we thought were better than what we've seen so far. And you're thinking there's an opportunity for either team to turn it around. But to be completely honest, with what we've seen unfold, I just don't know if they have the quarterback play to hang in some of these games that are going to be, you know, they're requiring you to score a little bit more. We see Texas Tech kind of balanced putting points on the board on a consistent basis. We've seen Iowa State score more than a lot of people have been comfortable with laying, a team that typically doesn't score as they have so far this year. So I don't know. I mean, we know Colorado can put points on the boards. Some of these teams are going to have to not just do it defensively. You need a quarterback that can answer some of these drives. And, like we were talking about before the show, I don't feel the most confident needing 7 points from Alan Bowman with 2 minutes left in a game. But compared, you've got somebody like Shedeur or something like that, you do feel as if there's a chance you can get the ball down the field. So for me, obviously not having Cam really, really handicaps them. But even with Cam, I think that they would have had an issue in that Arizona game. They just looked like they were not the best team on the field from the opening snap.
Yeah, Fafita was awesome. I thought Fafita controlled that game. And you mentioned it. They're going to struggle if playing from behind. They're a team that needs to play with the lead, run the ball, play complementary football. Kind of like Kansas State, kind of like Oklahoma State. Really good with the lead, but clearly, definitely not one of the teams that can fall behind. Clearly, UCF can't play from behind because they became one-dimensional. Shout out to Gus Malzahn for that fade route on the goal line to start the game. It's one of the worst calls of the season so far. You run the ball right down their throat to start the game, then you throw an interception on the 1 yard line on a slot fade. Troy, I don't know. What do we do with these two teams? By the way, a trend that I'm looking at, teams that coming off a bye that were going in hot, UCF 4-0, and then laying points came out flat. Arizona got hit in the mouth right before the bye week comes back. You could tell that they had a bad taste in their mouth as a dog comes out firing, gets it done against Utah after being embarrassed by K-State. But what do we do with Colorado and UCF?
I mean, I guess they're somewhat similar. Obviously, not the exact same offensive strategy. Although Gus Malzahn was making calls as if he had Shedeur Sanders at quarterback. But, I mean, I thought it was a wrap on that first drive that, like, we're going to come out here, we're going to dictate that we're a power running team, and we're about to just punch it right in and continue to do this all game. And in the very typical Gus Malzahn moment, he outsmarts himself, which is, we know that there's bad KJ Jefferson games out there. We know that there's Gus Malzahn doing something that probably didn't even need to be anywhere near your mind. So I don't know. It feels as if we kind of knew that there were a few games for UCF that would be like this. I don't think I expected it in the spot here.
Yeah.
As we thought, the trench game probably should have favored UCF, but I know Colby's been pretty big on this Colorado D line being better than we think. I think they are, but I don't know if that bar is that high.
It couldn't be worse than last year.
Luckily, UCF gets an out-of-conference matchup against an SEC team after this loss, which, for the overall look of the league might actually help a bit. But we do have to give credit for Colorado for going to the bounce house. The videos I saw, Steph was down there. It was pretty lit. They were pretty pumped up down there, and Colorado just kind of handled business. I feel it might be a little bit fake, but it feels like Colorado is kind of turning a corner here and just living with the fact that you're going to have to let Shedeur and Travis Hunter make a ton of plays, and everyone else is going to have to be in a complimentary spot that you might not get the spotlight, but your team is going to have more success if you let those guys in the spotlight. Yeah, I did move up Colorado. I mean, I know we haven't gotten to the actual rankings, but I moved them up pretty significantly. They look like they could compete for a conference title. They look like they could score enough points. I think they will slip up enough that they're not there at the very top. But it's going to be interesting. I feel as if, everybody's name is in the hat right now still, to be completely honest, besides our basement dwellers. But, man, this could still go in any direction. It's nuts. I mean, I thought I had a great feel on the UCF game and completely ate shit. So if you're asking me, I could be dumb.
I'm gonna start a new trend. Whoever everybody crowns the week before, or whoever has the loudest fan base in the chat, or in the comment section is going to be the fade team of the week. Last week was Utah. Never in doubt, fading the shit out of them. I'm going to fade the shit out of Colorado out of the bye week. They fluke box score. That you give them credit for going down, taking care of business, but they four turnovers to 1. That's not sustainable. They give up basically 500 yards of offense to UCF. If UCF just doesn't self-implode, that's a game coming down the wire. But you give Colorado credit. They found a way. They took the life out of the bounce house. But it is we got to remember that they also just won the week before against Baylor on a miracle Hail Mary because Dave Aranda and that team collapsed. So 2-0, but I definitely think they're a fade candidate coming out of the bye.
Yeah, I was going to say pretty good time for them to get a bye, though. I would be kind of all over the fade spot if they were playing, on the road or had a solid team coming into Folsom, but they get the bye. I know you just mentioned kind of teams going into the bye hot haven't benefited as well, but I don't know. I mean, they've got the quarterback that you can just lean on and let them make plays, and it's not always going to work, but I feel like at that like 70 to 80% rate, it's going to work, especially against some of these teams that struggle if you can get a bit of a lead on them and force them out of their comfort zone. But I do want to talk about Texas Tech too. They barely sneak out of Cincinnati, but that was kind of an impressive. Yeah, I mean, a couple of missed field goals kind of saved them. But I will say that I don't think at 4-1 their chances of winning the Big 12 are that high. But I do think that they are your ultimate spoiler that is going to ruin, what we think might be the 2 best Big 12 teams here in a few weeks. I mean, they can run the ball, speed and power. They can throw the ball well enough down the field. They're not worried when they get behind. They kind of play the same when they're ahead, which sometimes with Texas Tech, we've seen that haunt them a bit. But with Brooks, that gives them a whole nother ability to just fucking pound the rock. And I don't know. They seem like a scary upset candidate for sure.
I like Brooks. I like Brooks a lot. I thought Cincinnati got a tough whistle down the stretch. Some of those calls, definitely thought Cincinnati got the road whistle. Texas Tech, you give them credit, man. They get off the mat. They got beat in Pullman without Brooks. They win 3 straight home games. Jury's still out on them, though, man. Can they win on the road? That's been the McGuire era in a nutshell, consistency. So,
yeah, and Sorsby finally throws a pick, and it goes for 6 points the other way.
Yeah.
First one in almost a calendar year to the date. They just had a lot of stuff go their way, which I kind of recognize, but they handled business when you got yeah, which is, I mean, I think that's how they realize they need to play. They're going to have to race teams to points instead of think that they can limit them too much. But, you got to go to Lubbock. It's always going to be rough.
Agreed. All right, let's hit an ad, and then we'll give out our power rankings, and then we'll look ahead also to week number 7 in the Big 12. But first off, this is more of a serious note. Hurricane Helen has been devastating to the people of Western North Carolina. SGPN is teaming up with the local charity mountainprojects.org to help give back. Biggest donation will get a guest spot on the College Football Pick Show and a ton of gear. So get on over there to mountainprojects.org and hit the flood support help out today. Thank you, everybody, for your help with this serious time. And we are also brought to you by SGPN, the most DGen pregame show in the world. Saturday, the college football, 11 a.m. Eastern, and the NFL the next day at noon. Get on over there and sweat out some bets and give out some DGen parlays and everything and much more every single Saturday and Sunday over on SGPN and TCE. And we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can use the specials and boosts on your new flex entries. Troy, do you have anything cooked up for MLB playoffs? I know I talked about it last night over on my Underdog video that we got MLB playoffs, we got college football playoff or college football conference play, we got the NFL season, we got everything this time of year. Troy, anything catching your eye over on the MLB for that you want to back some guys?
No, to be honest, I kind of like to see how the first game of these short series play out and then kind of hammer some of the guys in desperation spots. So there'll probably be a 3 or 4-way entry tomorrow after we see how some of these guys either do or don't respond.
Can't beat that, baby. So get on over there, Underdog Fantasy, promo code TCESGPN, and they will claim your special pick and first-time deposit, offer up to $1,000. Promo code TCESGPN. All righty, Troy, let's go into our Big 12 power rankings, and I guess we'll do our tier system again. Let me update the thumbnail right here. Boom, power rankings. There you go. We're a professional organization over here. Troy, I'll let you lead it off with your tier 4, a.k.a. the basement bums.
All right, tier 4. This was a reactionary week for me. I realize it's already difficult enough to go week to week in this league that we're just going to dumb it down and do that. And some of these teams moved up and down quite a bit, but they always have the opportunity to do the same every other week. I've got Houston at the very bottom, Baylor slightly above them, Kansas slightly above Baylor, even though I would say Kansas is by far and away the best of these teams that I've listed so far. They just can't seem to get it done. And, you've got to punish a football team that can't get wins. Then right above them, I have TCU. That's my bottom 4.
Do you put TCU, though, in your tier 3, though?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that they're kind of right on that fringe. I don't think that they're an absolute basement dweller, but
so you have 3.
They're kind of right there. Yeah, I would say that the first 3 are the clear basement guys.
I went Houston 16 as well, and then I went Kansas 15. Even though they've lost 4 straight, they don't have an FBS win, so I can't put them ahead of Baylor because Baylor at least has beat an FBS team, and Baylor should have beat Colorado on the road. Unbelievable. And if they didn't fucking spot 21 points to BYU, my God, that was pathetic. But that's more than an indictment on Dave Aranda for them coming out flat. So I got Baylor at 14, and those are in my bottom tier, bottom 4, aka or tier 4, the basement.
So tier 3 for me, like I said, I have TCU right there. I moved UCF pretty far down. That just seemed like a really big bumble at a pretty good opportunity for a memorable season where,
yeah,
I still think that they just didn't take advantage of their team's matchup advantages and decided to kind of play the game that Colorado wanted them to, and they took the bait. And you're not going to be near the top tier in this league if you're a team that's going to move away from what we think your identity is because you took the bait in a game. So I've got UCF drop pretty far down. Dub V above them, solid week, can't lose during the bye week. Don't really know. I kind of want to see how this game goes in Stillwater before I decide. I do think that West Virginia has a pretty good shot of keeping their name in the hat for a few more weeks, but I got to see them play it again. I got Cincinnati right above them. And I think that group of Cincy, Dub V, UCF, and TCU is going to be my third tier, the living room floor tier.
I struggle with this one. I think I have just a tier 3 here. I think I got TCU, UCF, and West Virginia, tier 3. I think that they all have shown that they're extremely vulnerable. And I guess TCU does have a road win, but they've completely no-showed a game or two. So West Virginia, even though West Virginia, I guess I go TCU 13, UCF 12, West Virginia 11 in my tier 3.
Yeah, we agree on that. I'm kind of afraid to say that Cincy is a true competitor outside of that third tier, but
yeah,
I'm assuming that you have them pretty close to the bottom of your next tier up as well.
Yeah. Honestly, actually, I'm going to take it back. UCF and TCU are tier 3 for me, where I left head scratching losses. So I'll go West Virginia into tier 2, a very crowded tier 2.
Yeah, I have a pretty crowded tier 2 here as well, mostly because the teams that are by default in tier 1, I don't know if they're going to be able to hold up for the whole year. I've got Oklahoma State and then Arizona State, followed by Utah, and then Arizona and Colorado. After Arizona's win, I don't know if that's the style of team that we're going to see from the rest of the year. Then they have the ability for sure to win the league and climb their way up. But, you see it for 1 week. We see this all the time in college football. They look like a completely different defense when they're not in a big game scenario where they've had, the concentration for a whole week. I know I moved Oklahoma State down pretty far, but just their run defense struggles scare me. Any of these teams that are listed could beat Oklahoma State. Everybody outside of our 3 basement teams, and maybe even including Kansas, because of their run game, would have a shot at kind of nullifying Oklahoma State's offensive playmakers.
Yeah.
Arizona State, we don't see anything. Don't want to move them too much. Utah, obviously, I have them right under Arizona. There is still hope that we see Cam, but it's probably not something that you want to take into account until you actually see him get out on the field and play more than, they've brought him in for 1 snap for a game, and then he sat on the bench for the rest of the game. It's kind of nuts. But yeah, Arizona, that's kind of the team that I expected to see. And I'm sure most people that were high on Arizona knew that that's the performance you could get. We just got to see it week to week. And then, got to respect Colorado. Go down there and prove me completely wrong. But definitely Colorado is still probably the most volatile in our power rankings so far this year.
Yeah, I struggle. So this is my tier 2, and I'll call this the tier that I could see beating anybody, but also losing to anybody. Then they've proven that so far with their play on the field. Like I said, I had West Virginia 11. They have not beaten anybody. I guess Kansas is their best win. I had Cincinnati at 10. Cincinnati, I feel like they're a lot better than their record, but they're still sitting at 3-2. Arizona State, they were on bye, but I liked what they did in the non-con. 3-1, big win on the road at Texas State. Then I went Texas Tech. They have not won a road game yet, so I need to see them win away from Lubbock to move them up. Colorado at 7 after their big win. That's as high as just because of the consistency. I can't rank them above 7th in my opinion. They won on a Hail Mary. Let's not forget that. And they almost lost to North Dakota State as well and got drilled by Nebraska. So I think regression's coming for them out of the bye. 6, I went Arizona. They showed a lot this week coming out of that bye, winning at the toughest place to play in the league. Number 5, I'll probably get a lot of shit for this one. I got Oklahoma State. I know they're 0-2, but they're getting ready to go on a little run here. They finally found Ollie Gordon again. I think that Alan Bowman has not been as bad as everybody's made it out to be. This is when Gundy starts turning a corner after October 1st. I like Oklahoma State to get hot here, so I got them at 5 for me. I'm not going to overreact because they lost to Utah and then at K-State.
Yeah, we haven't seen the best of Alan Bowman, but it has also been against the 2 teams that were pretty much agreed upon before the year as what we thought were the better teams in the league. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm probably just overreacting because I'm a Pokes fan and they probably should have won at least one of those games. But I guess we'll see down the road. It is October. You get Gundy through September and everything seems to change.
And Troy, also, where does Gundy usually feast against inferior coaches? He's gone against Kleiman and Whittingham the first 2 games, so he hasn't had a chance on a short rest week to week, going against guys like Dion or Satterfield to really make those adjustments and outcoach somebody on a short week.
Yeah, obviously Whittingham is up there with some of the best coaches in the nation. We think Kleiman's awesome. And it kind of looked like that too, the way that those two games went for OK State. Like Utah looked as if they had the game plan to stop them. And then obviously Kansas State looked like they had a pretty solid game plan to really stop them. But and on that note, my top tier, I still have Kansas State here at 4. I know that you're high on the Oklahoma State turning it around. Maybe take some of the better odds on their championship, 30-1. Well, what's Kansas State right now?
They're only like 2-1.
Yeah, you can tell that they haven't lost too much juice.
Yeah,
they're still in a pretty solid position in the gas station convenience store conference. I've got Texas Tech at 3. I know this is probably fake, but I'm going to give them a little bit of credit. I'm going to move them into the top 3. At least they get 1 week where they're up here, guaranteed. But I do like how balanced their offense is. Like I was saying earlier, I think that they're a team that's got a shot to beat anybody from top to bottom in the league in the event that the offense is kicking and you get into a score off. I got BYU at 2. Again, we might see some regression from these top teams, but so far through the year, this is what we've seen. Kind of like the database rankings where I don't really care what the parlay of other teams have done, win and lost to other opponents. I've seen BYU look like a really good football team in pretty much every week that they've played. And even the SMU game kind of struggled to score points, but it seemed like once they got themselves back in that game, they pretty much controlled it the whole time. Sitake seat has cooled off significantly for sure. He's got to be feeling pretty good. And then number 1, Iowa State. We've got an Iowa State team that 2 weeks in a row, a number that looked kind of scary for an offense that they just cover and, keep working hard. And Matt Campbell has got to be happy with the identity of the team so far as like, we're just going to work harder than you and find a way to win the football game, which that's his go-to. So a lot of respect to Iowa State so far this year.
That was such a bullshit cover. That was such a bull. Houston was down like 3-0 with like 3 minutes left in the third quarter. They couldn't cover 16.5. Son, brutal loss. I'm with you. I did not have Texas Tech that high, so I know the Red Raider fans will come after me, but I think your defense is bad. So yeah, prove it to me on the road, baby. 4, I went to Utes. I don't know what I'm getting with Cam Rising, man. I'm not just blindly trusting that he's going to come back and be effective when he comes back. 3, K-State. I think that they're actually probably the best team in the league still, but they do have a 30-point loss somehow to BYU, who I got at 2. You got to respect the 5-0. Sitake magic is rolling, baby. And I'll join you at number 1. I got the Cyclones. I want them to beat Baylor because then it's going to happen the following week. They're going to go to Morgantown, and they're going to get beat when they get ranked in the top 10. You can book that one, baby. Prime time in Morgantown. That's where undefeated seasons go to die. It'll be a revenge of what Iowa State did to West Virginia Will Greer's year when they went in there undefeated and got the Mountaineers. So love the Cyclones. They got the best win so far in the league, going to Iowa City, or best non-con win, that is. But yeah, we agree there. Number 1 and 2 being Iowa State and BYU, the 2 remaining unbeaten teams in the league. Troy, we got to pay the bills on the way out before we look ahead to week 7. Because over here at the Big 12 Experience, we're brought to you by Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Week 7, I'll give you, stay tuned, come back Thursday for our week 6 picks. I'll give you a week 7 pick on my Rhythm. My motto loves this one. K-State -6.5 at Colorado. Sell high on Colorado. Give me them Cats in Boulder coming off the bye week with Kleiman and company. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And we're also brought to you by BetUS. BetUS, baby. Bet the best with the business. Easily depositable with cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. All players are welcome. I like K-State. I already gave out K-State. Which one? Give me the Braves tonight, man. Everybody's crowning the Padres. Give me the Braves. Money line, I saw them. They're like +150. I was on the Tigers earlier. hopefully the Orioles come back, and shame on me for ever taking the Mets, Troy. So get on over there, use our link to sign up, and get a 125% deposit bonus on your first deposit. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN, so they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook today. All righty, Troy, let's look ahead to week number 7. And we do have a non-conference game on deck. We also have a Friday night game. I'm pulling up the games on my odds. First up, we got Friday night in the Big 12, Friday night under the lights. By the way, we have all night games this week. I was looking ahead. Outside of West Virginia, Oklahoma State at 4 o'clock on Saturday. Troy, we got winless Houston going to, I guess, winners of one in a row, the TCU Horned Frogs. TCU laying 16.5. That's a big number.
Yeah, it's a pretty big number. I mean, this should be a TCU win, but with that big number, I don't know. Maybe Donovan Smith struggles here on the road. I'll have to look and see his performances as Texas Tech quarterback against TCU. But I think the number might be too big right now to really feel confident laying that. I think TCU will win the game, but I don't know. Friday night game, we might see something crazy, 1 possession win or something like that.
I agree. I'll probably be on Willie Fritz. The game where we'll be battling here, Troy. 4 o'clock ESPN2. You got the Mountaineers going to Stillwater. Gundy's had their number. This is now or never for the Cowboys, right?
Yeah, this might be back-to-back loser leaves town games for West Virginia, to be completely honest.
We're undefeated.
And not a great spot, 2 straight losses, having to go to Stillwater for the Mountaineers. Definitely a good opportunity, though. I mean, if West Virginia is really, it's kind of, like I said, it's a now or never game for them, too, in terms of they go on the road, they beat them 3 straight times, and they're sitting at 2-0 in the Big 12. Everything is completely different from the eyes of WV fans. I just don't like the spot at all for you guys.
Oh, if we win this one, we're in the driver's seat. But, yeah, Gundy has not been good to us, so as much as I hate to say it, you probably lean to the Cowboys, but go Mountaineers. Baylor going to Iowa State. Has this team quit on Baylor, Troy? Or Aranda? Has Baylor quit on Aranda? I can't talk.
I'm not sure. From what we've seen offensive numbers wise with Sawyer, I don't think that side of the ball has quit. I think you might see a little bit of kind of a turn down from the defensive performance. Not that they've been awesome or anything, but I think the bigger risk is, Aranda takes over play calling duties for the defense, and we still haven't really seen too big of an improvement. We've seen some games where they come out and they're just not prepared right off the bat. So I think that is definitely a worry. But I think the bigger worry is you're playing in Ames against a team that's way better than you.
Yep, and just looking ahead, last time they met in Ames, Baylor did win outright. So, but the number was a lot shorter than that, and Baylor was in a much better state as a program. Let's go over to the Swamp. UCF's laying 3 at Florida. So they lose by 30, and they're laying 3 at Florida. How about that, Troy?
Seems kind of telling, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah,
we've seen Florida play football too. They, like UCF, we've seen one bad football game from them against Colorado, and it was at home and in a spot that they should not have looked that bad. But we've seen a couple of bad games from Florida. We know what the floor is for Florida. This might be the strategy where I'm just betting double of everything that I lost on UCF last week, and we'll be right back to 0.
I lean UCF. Colby and the guys are going to this game. Late night in Tempe. Arizona State off the bye week. Got Kansas. Dead wounded animal here. Losers of 4 in a row. This could be my dog. Kansas got to win eventually, right?
Yeah, we keep saying that.
They're not getting blown out, though. That's the thing. Like, if they haven't quit on Leipold.
Yeah, but we saw what a better Kansas team last year went to UNLV and really struggled in the desert. And now they're going back to the desert. And we always talk about
Nevada.
how, oh yeah, Nevada.
Yeah, I was like,
but we always talk about these desert teams, home games really throw some guys off. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. The fact that it's sitting at 3 instead of 2.5 or 3.5 makes me think it's got push written all over it. Like Arizona State sneaks out in yet another game that Kansas probably should win.
You got a 1-4 team and they're only catching 3. I think that's telling. I think that's gonna be a hell of a game.
We'll get the Neal versus Scatabo matchup is going to be pretty electric. I think they'll probably both be able to run pretty significant amounts of yards and scores.
No doubt. And then Troy, the nightcap, and I guess they're kind of all nightcaps because this is the ultimate nightcap. 11 Eastern. We go to Tucson on Fox. I love this. The late game on Fox. We got the Red Raiders. We got the Wildcats. I don't know what I'd say. I'm undecided here. Probably take the points because it's a Big 12.
Yeah, I'm a little undecided on this one too. Mostly for the aspect that I brought up that maybe Arizona's defense isn't as locked in and they let Tech kind of hang around, which again, they're like a Kansas team that hasn't fucked up at the end, where they've been hanging around a lot of these games and they've just kind of found a way to sneak by in a few of them. And again, I think if you're looking at a team like Kansas unable to get those wins, you've got to put a little bit of value in the fact that Tech has snuck by a few times. I don't know. This is definitely a candidate for a letdown spot for Arizona, right?
Yeah, I would agree. That was the first thought, but then Tech's won 3 in a row, so it's kind of
and Tech can definitely run the ball with Taj Brooks.
Yeah, I think I'll probably take Tech.
I think Arizona might win the game, but if it's sitting at 6, it feels like yet another wacky late night game that we see a field goal determine it.
Dude, it's going to be a fun weekend in the Big 12. All night games outside of West Virginia, Oklahoma State. That's a 1-day game, but you got 7:30 Fox. Then you go over to the SEC Network at 7:45, 8 o'clock ESPN2, Arizona State, Kansas. And then you got the late nightcap of Texas Tech, Arizona. And you got a Friday night game sprinkled in. And then the next week, just looking ahead, we have Colorado and K-State are the nightcap. So
our bye week, our 2 bye week guys get matched up nighttime in Folsom next week.
Oh, God, I can't wait. Can't wait, baby. Troy, good show. Can't wait. Come join us Thursday. I think Rush will be back maybe on Thursday. Not confirmed yet. If not, he'll be back next week. And then we'll look ahead to these 5 games and break it down, give out our underdog play, give out our money line parlay, give out our locks and dog. And, yeah, baby, let's get it going.
Yeah, Bernard sold our sweet underdog play, but if you added Harvey to it and you played the champions round robin where they do the 4-way and then the all 7-way, you got 6 of the 7 to hit, so you hit on 3 of the 4-way parlays, which was kind of nice.
Can't beat that, baby. Playoff baseball, get on over there, use our underdog code, and we'll be back to give out conference or Big 12 underdog. Go check out the college basketball experience. We're doing conference previews all week long, all the way up till November 4th. Shit, it's already October 1st, baby. The season's right around the corner. Pick show tonight with Pick Dundee, NC Nick, Patty C. I think at 8:45 Eastern tomorrow night. Bracketology with Colby and I. Thursday night, Thursday night's us, Troy. And then Friday night, I think it's the FCS experience. We're here every single night on the college experience. College football, college basketball, college baseball on the horizon as well. Great time of year. Make sure you subscribe so you get all the notifications. And, we all come together as one on youtube.com/the college experience. Be doing a Big 12 basketball preview here soon, Troy. So he's at Troy Chewning. I'm at Moneyline_Mac. We are the Big 12 college experience, and we are Out of here.
Mets trying to keep you alive.